evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. It is match preview night, of course. Newcastle United taking on Fulham from London on Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Cathedral on the Hill, of course, St James's Park. And, hopefully the good times will still come rolling at St James's Park on Sunday. So we'll get into that in a moment. Just to say, Colin Morton, thank you for becoming a new member of the channel. Welcome to the Members Club, and thank you for your support. We've got to start with the obvious breaking news tonight with Joelinton. For me, I'll have my say, and then you guys can have yours on it. Listen, I've seen people sticking up for him on, on Twitter, on YouTube, etc., saying, the guy's made a mistake. We all make mistakes. I'm sorry, I don't have any time for drink drivers. It's as simple as that. I have a zero tolerance for drink driving. A lot of people have lost loved ones through drink drivers. I've lost a friend through drink driving. He was run down by a drunk driver. I'm not having it. Okay, simple as that. If you've had a drink, you just don't get in the car. It's as simple as that. And I don't care what country you're from. You know about drink driving. It's as simple as that for me. I'm very disappointed, to be honest, in Joelinton. I think he should know better. But, it's happened and we have to move on, obviously. But it's very disappointing. It brings a bit of sort of bad news upon the club when everything's sort of high as a kite at the minute. Everybody's buzzing, making the semi-final of a cup competition, third in the league, and then this. It's very... very disappointing. I can understand people backing, supporting him and saying, yes, we all make mistakes. Of course, we all make mistakes. But when it's as serious as drink driving, I have a different approach to it completely. I just, it's destroyed so many people's lives in the past, drink driving. And yes, he didn't injure anybody or anything like that, but he could have. It's pointless people saying, "Oh, well, he didn't injure anybody. No one got hurt because of it." It doesn't matter. It could lead to something worse. And for me, it's not like he doesn't have the money to get a cab or an Uber or whatever it needs be to get back to where he's going. He simply doesn't have to get in the car and drive. The money he's got, easy to call a cab or one of his mates who's not driving or who's not drinking. To drive the car. I just don't have any tolerance for drink drivers. Billy, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, it's indefensible, firstly. You can't defend him. He's made a terrible error of judgment. But he's been lucky. He's been very fortunate that he hasn't hurt anybody or worse. He's let himself down. He's let the club down. He's let the fans down. And it's a pretty bad time to be doing it. The club's on a real high at the minute. This kind of thing kind of just brings us down to earth, doesn't it? It leaves a bit of a bad feeling in the stomach, and I imagine that he'll be dealt with quite severely by the club. I imagine he'll get a massive fine, and possibly even chuck out the team on Sunday. Who knows? But
well, yeah, I mean, we've got to take that into consideration, to be honest, because Eddie's got to make a point of this. He simply has to. But it puts Eddie Howe in a very difficult position, Alex, when it comes to his press conference tomorrow. He would be hoping that he could go into that press conference and there'd be all, positivity about where Newcastle United are, where the team's heading. But you know what the media are like? They're going to bombard him about what he's going to do with Joelinton. What do you think of it? What's his fine going to be? Are you going to leave him out the team? It's questions that really Eddie Howe doesn't need.
I don't think it's too much of an issue for Eddie Howe. I think they will assess it internally as a club, and I think he's well within his rights during the press conference to say it's being dealt with internally and privately. I mean, which is completely fair enough. So I don't think it will matter too much. And I think if journalist number 2 and journalist number 3 keep pressing him, then out the exit door.
Well,
it's quite simple. If they want to keep it private, maybe he'll disclose it. Maybe he'll disclose whether it's going to be a fine. Who knows? But I don't think it should detract too much from the team. We can't let it, really. And I'm sure Eddie Howe will try and stop that. I'm sure Joelinton's probably already spoken. And again, I know you say it's zero tolerance, but this country does have a limit for alcohol. It's not like a lot of countries where it is zero tolerance. you have a certain limit that you can drink and still operate machinery / drive a vehicle. We have a limit in this country. You've got adult males that can drink a couple of pints and blow clean, and it's just how it is in this country. It's obviously Scotland has different rules. Places in Europe, for example, when I was there in Poland, you have to keep a breathalyzer, a personal breathalyzer, in your vehicle, and there is a zero tolerance. If you've touched a drop, you just don't get behind the wheel. Whereas here, it's quite normal to have a beer and then go home. So considering I wasn't there, I would like to know the context before. I'm unwilling to judge him unless I know the context, because it's possible that he's had a beer or a couple of beers and thought he might have been okay, maybe waited.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Alex. You can't do that, man. You can't do that with drink driving, bud. You can
because the country's got a tolerance limit.
Maybe,
it's the law.
If you're sensible
that's
nowadays,
your opinion, but it is the law.
But if you're sensible nowadays, right?
I agree.
You have a drink, you just don't drive.
I agree. He's got the money to call a taxi or an Uber. I agree with that.
I agree with what they do in Poland. I agree 100% with that.
I'm not saying I agree with you got to let me finish this, because it's not. I'm not saying I agree with it, but it depends on how offended I am and how annoyed I am by him. If he's had a couple of beers and he's waited, he's had a meal, he's had some water, and he's got in the car and he's just been unlucky and blown over, it's bad. But whereas if he's had 8 pints and driven, can't forgive him for that. That's ridiculous. So it depends on. Does that make sense? I'm still upset with both scenarios, but one of them is you should have known better, mate. Be careful. The other one is if he's obscenely drunk and he's driving, that is truly no way, big trouble. So I think there is context.
Well, he has been charged.
Best case scenario, you just don't drink and drive.
Yeah,
at all.
It's not just he hasn't just been arrested; he's been charged, which means that when he's gone back to the station and he's gone on the proper breathalyzer, he's still been over.
Time, which suggests it's
a bit more than a couple of pints.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see.
Disappointing.
Yeah. Danielle's here. Good evening, Chick. Hope you're well. Don't want to hear anyone sticking up for Joe. Completely unacceptable. I'm sure Eddie will handle this correctly and he will be dealt with. Andy, on the flip side of that, says we've all done things we aren't proud of. Best outcome internally would be a fine donated to charity. It will blow over. West Ham continue to play Zuma. That was a completely different thing, though. We're talking about drink driving that can actually kill a human. I'm sorry. I have a stance on it, and nothing will. My dad was a police officer, and the stories he used to tell of accidents he had to attend and what he's seen in his life as a police officer because of drink driving. And obviously, I lost a friend through it a few years back now. Danielle says the club will handle it the right way. I'm certain about that. How are you all doing, you semi-final Maggies? Solly says he's not disappointed. He's not angry. He's just disappointed for Joe, the player, and the team. It's a stupid thing he's done, and he will know it. But I ask this: name a single person in the chat who hasn't done something daft. And also,
we're not professional sportsmen, mate. We're not professional sportsmen.
I know. Yeah, you've got it.
Things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to take this. I understand. I 100% understand where people are coming from, saying, "Look, he's done a stupid thing. Everybody's done silly things in their lifetime." Absolutely, 100%. But it's drink driving, which has caused so much heartache and pain to so many people over the years. People should know better. And what Alex said there about Poland, having a personal breathalyzer, they sell them over here. You can get them over here easily. But the modern day and age, and this is what my point was I'm trying to get across, is the modern day and age when we know that the government, the police are all trying to crack down on drink driving, and just don't drink. If you're going to drive a car, don't even have one, because you're putting yourself at risk immediately. Everybody's body, as I think you were alluding to, Alex, has different, they can cope with alcohol in very, very different ways. But the problem is, you just don't know. So just don't do it. Even if you've had one and you think, yeah, I'm fine, you might be over the limit. You just never know. So you just can't take that risk in this day and age. Zishan, thanks for your $8.99 super chat. He says, I hope Eddie comes down hard on Joe. I lost my best friend to drink driving, and I've seen some of the comments on social media from our fan base. They should be ashamed. Look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. What I don't like is the stupid songs that they're making up. These idiots are making songs up about Joelinton drinking and Joelinton's worth 40 million. All of this. Give over. Give over. It's ridiculous, man.
Not laughing.
I mean, look, it's made the headlines, and that's the disappointing thing. We should be looking forward to this Fulham game, getting back into the Premier League action. And Newcastle as a club, again, is in the news for the wrong reasons. Just when we've got the whole bloody world against us. For various different things, people are coming at Newcastle and the fans. We just didn't need it. Sophia says, I think I've watched the all behind the scenes videos from Tuesday 100 times. Who hasn't? Danielle says, I don't think anyone is saying we haven't made mistakes. I think we just need to focus on what's happening on the pitch and leave the club to deal with Joe.
It's what Billy said, though. I do agree with what Billy said. He's in the public eye, and he's an inspiration to people for many things, for moving halfway across the world and having so much expectation on his shoulders and reinventing his career. And he's watched by tens of thousands week in, week out. If I'm not saying drink driving, but if I made a personal mistake and I let myself down, I'm not letting down thousands of fans. I'm not letting down any children. I'm not letting down people who are looking up to me and who are trying to follow an image and try and improve themselves. I'd just be letting myself down. Whereas he's got a lot of people looking up to him. He's got his own children, his own family, and a lot of fans. So there is that additional expectation. Whether it's fair or not, it's not up for debate. There is the expectation, whether he likes it or not. So he is going to be held to a higher standard. It's just how it is in this world.
Do you think, Billy, I'll ask you first, do you think he'd be left out on Sunday?
Yes, I do.
It's a big call to make.
Yes, I do. I think if we took out the firing line out the public eye, I don't think you'll see him Sunday.
Well, Danielle's taken Mitro out of a fact. He's injured anyway. He's injured tonight. I don't think he's going to be fit for Sunday.
He's suspended
tonight.
Oh, he's suspended. Oh, I'll be back. Sorry, I do apologise. I thought he was injured. So you don't think he'll play, Billy? What about you, Alex? Do you think it would be? Do you think it's right that Eddie takes him out of the team?
But I think it's probably right that he doesn't. I think he probably. I mean, if he steps on the pitch. I think a lot depends on what happens between now and match day as well. It depends on how well everything goes and how well it's received. If he makes a donation, if he apologizes, if we get some public speeches and everybody seems to be okay, then maybe he plays. But it depends on how it goes between now and the match. I think the safest and easiest and most ethical option is to just don't play him on Sunday. Just, rap on the knuckles, a fine, get him to donate to charity and just, try and move on from it. I'd say 75% towards he's probably not going to play.
I mean, it's not necessarily a massive crisis. We can move Willock back there and play Maxi from the start. I mean, obviously the only problem with that, Billy, is if Maxi's still not 100% fit.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, he's been aching for a chance to play, hasn't he? And I think he might be a godsend for Maxi. As perverse as that sounds, he could be straight back here, he could back in the side, do what he does best, and make it impossible to drop. So it might be perversely brilliant for Maxi. Might be half a job. I'm sure Joelinton will get back in the side as soon as the air's cleared, kind of thing. But I don't think he'll play on Sunday. But I think it'll be probably in the week after.
It certainly will be interesting. Now, I did bring a video out earlier on today about Harry Maguire. Now, some people clearly don't watch the video before they put comments in, and it's very easy to see the people that don't, because a couple of people, not every, just a couple, but we're putting in the chat saying, it's clickbait. Why there's no transfer talk, so you're making this up about Harry Maguire. I didn't make anything up. I was basically discussing a comment that Danny Murphy had made on the radio saying that he felt that Newcastle United would be an ideal destination should Harry Maguire move on from Manchester United. Not once did I say he was linked transfer-wise. Not once did I say anything like that. I just wanted to have a conversation and get your guys' feedback, which 99% of you did, on whether you'd be happy if Newcastle United did go for a Harry Maguire. That's what the whole video was about. So what I would say is just watch the damn video before you comment on it, so you know the context of the video. Anyway. Paul Sales says, well, we're here again. Let's chill out and have some fun. Tom's in the house. Bookies are saying we have 4 to 6 to finish in the top 4. Yeah, we said that last night. And it's actually good, Alex, that we're favourites at the top end of the table now rather than favourites for relegation.
Yeah, I mean, it comes with a new set of pressures that we're not used to, or at least we've not been used to it for a long time. But it has there's a positive spin to it, in that we can look at the transfer window slightly differently. You know, we're still asking the same questions of who can we attract, what caliber of player can we attract, what sort of money have we got. But we're looking at it in a brighter sense now that, you know, we can theoretically not guarantee European football, but it's a likelihood that we're going to get some form of European football in whatever capacity that is, whether it's Conference League, Europa League, or Champions League. And I think it's pretty obvious that I would hope, going to be staying at this end of the table for the foreseeable future. Yeah. So we can offer a lot more to any incoming signings and potential players. So yeah, it's new set of pressures, but it's not really. It's still nice. We're still in that early phase. In 3 years' time, we might get a bit whingy about certain things, but now I don't care. We're doing so well, so it's a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Jan, Jesus Christ. Gelike Vejagdag Sven and Nogvella Jalen into Toon, which is translated for Paul. It's happy birthday, Sven Botman. And I hope for many years in the Toon. I called him Dan Botman on my video this morning, which I was really impressed with.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know, just one of those slips, you know, as you do. I was man enough
opposed to Sven Byrne.
Well, Sven Byrne and Dan Botman, you know, just genius players. If Joelinton doesn't play on Sunday, Billy, would you expect that change to happen? Would you expect Maxi to come in because he's chomping at the bit clearly, or does he play, or does he start Isak on the left? I mean, there's two options.
No, he starts Maxi. Maxi will be straight on the left-hand side. Absolutely, 100%. In my opinion, it's the only change you can make. He may even start Isak up front anyway. So we've said how kind of not quite himself Callum Wilson is. He may be starting Isak anyway. So
yeah,
no, I think Maxi will come straight back in.
Well, of course, time will tell, but it's going to be a difficult. I mean, Alex, we've mentioned the press conference tomorrow, and I think it's going to be a difficult one for Eddie Howe for all the wrong reasons, because you know yourself, we all do know what this media is like, and they don't ask the questions that we want to know. They never do. They ask questions that are pointless, and I can, you know, hopefully things will be said before that press conference starts tomorrow behind the scenes, saying, look, you can have one question on Joelinton, that's it, we move on, or they just rile Eddie Howe up by asking the same question over and over again.
Well, I'm a big fan of how Alex Ferguson was in his old interviews. I know he was a bit of an arsehole sometimes, in terms of sometimes the journalist hadn't even done anything wrong and he'd kick him out. But I think sometimes it's useful to just, you know, put your foot down sometimes. Be polite initially, offer them the opportunity. If they disregard that, then that's their fault. If you've warned them and they do it, then it's on them. They've made their bed. But I prefer we didn't have to go down that road. I hope that the club frame it in the appropriate way and the journalists respect that, because I don't want us to have to start fighting with journalists. You know, it's been quite a while since we've had any sort of Saudi questions. It's quietened down. You know, Eddie Howe's getting a bit more praise, and the club are getting a lot more praise, and rightly so, because we're doing so well. So hopefully we can just keep it. You know, hopefully even the journalists, I hope they are eloquent in their questions and sort of suggest, you know, does this mean maybe St. Maximin or Isak are going to play? You know, say it politely instead of just aggressively grilling the club constantly.
George Boyle says, oi, everyone. Hello, Toon Review. I have to say this is the #1 show for me. Your hard work and dedication is second to none. Thank you very much, George. Francisco's here. Hello, boyos, chatting mods. Jumping in early to advise everyone not to judge Joelinton too quickly. Wait for details, then make a judgment. I think it would be inappropriate to do otherwise. Yes,
it's
but
similar to what I said. Yeah,
but the fact of if he'd just been arrested, then yes, but he's been charged, which says he's over the limit when he's went for that second.
Again, we don't know. We don't even know exactly what he's done, because you can get in trouble in this country if you go and sit in your car with the keys in the ignition and you haven't driven. If he's gone and sat there with the music on,
well, that's a good point. Yeah,
for that. So there could be scenarios in which he's not driven at all. Yeah. So I would prefer to wait and see first, because he might not have even driven anywhere. He might have gotten in the car, put music on, and not moved, and was going to go back in the house. Like we don't know the ins and outs 100%. So just in case, I'd like to wait and see what the details are before I, discredit him.
Malcolm Taylor, thank you very much for your £10 super chat. He says, love the show, Simples. Thank you very much, Malcolm. Andy says, Eddie will show everyone there is no effing about in the squad. Oh my God, Mike Dean's on VAR for this weekend. Oh, wonderful. How that fills my heart with such sunshine. Honestly.
2 weeks winning with the Owls then.
Sorry?
2 weeks winning against the Owls. I would call Mike Duffy an owl.
Yeah, absolutely. Who scored?
Fulham.
Oh, wow. Oh, dear. It's not going well for Graham Potter at all. You were saying that João Felix has had a good start of the game, Alex.
I mean, I haven't got it on, but I've got it. I'm following the live updates and the stats.
Yeah.
And he within the first 17 minutes, he'd already won 3 free kicks and won like 4 ground duels. I'm only looking at stats, but it sounds like he's having a good game. I'll have to go and watch it later.
Yeah.
It's a Brazilian Willian scored.
Wow. Brazilian Willian.
Back against his old club as well.
Indeed. The big right hand has put in another joke, but I'm not reading that on air or putting on the screen because I will not upset North Korea again. I am not going to do that, unfortunately for you, Mr. Right Hand. But thank you for your joke again. I appreciate it. Sebastian says, I don't understand why a footballer on a huge salary would not simply hire a driver or go by taxi if he feels like a celebratory drink. Noxie says, very disappointed hearing about Big Joe. Always seen him as a good role model, and exactly what we were talking about. Billy, you brought the role model situation up. For the club, very surprising. Hopefully this doesn't prove to be a distraction. That's one thing that we can't have, Billy. It can't become a distraction.
100%. No, and I think that's why I'll take him out the firing line just for the 1 week and ease him back the week after. But yeah, we don't want to distract you. We want to high at the minute, and we want to keep there. Hopefully, this can be a little hiccup in it, but yeah, it's unprofessional, to say the least, of Joe to kind of do this, and hopefully he doesn't get anything too. Hopefully, he gets he gets some kind of he learns from it and doesn't do it again. And then that's all we can ask for, really.
There is a lot of people in the chat who are very angry at Joe because they've lost members or close loved ones because of drink driving, and you can understand their anger. It is. I mean, yes, let's wait and see what details do come out, but you can understand that people who have lost loved ones in the past because of drink driving are going to be angry. That's just a natural reaction. It's horrible. We've got a £5 super chat from Stanley Waters. Thank you very much, Stanley. He says, would not be surprised if Joe was pulled because that's a bit no, I'm not reading it out, Stanley. I can understand where you're coming from, but I'm not getting into that. It wouldn't be right. There's a lot of things go on about that, and I wouldn't like to think that happened in this country, to be honest. Scotty says, hello, nice to catch you live. You can't condone. I know Brazilian rules may be more relaxed, but can't be swept under the carpet. Yeah, but I'm not having the Brazilian, or he's a different country. You abide by the rules of the country you live in. It's as simple as that for me. Look. Pedro says, I think Fulham will be a fast-paced game and a hard one, but we are unbeatable at the moment, and he's going for an easy Toon win. it's not going to be an easy game, Alex, because Fulham aren't a bad side, and they're proving that tonight as they're ahead against Chelsea. But again, is fatigue going to come into this now because they're playing 2 days after us and have less recovery time?
I would imagine so, because although they're on a very, very good run, they are seemingly playing one of their strongest available squads. They've got Pereira, Bobby Reed, and Willian on either side of him. They've got Paulini in midfield, so they're playing their big hitters, Leno in goal. I would imagine that will help us, especially with our extremely aggressive style of play. You don't want to be visiting us. You don't want to be coming away to St. James's Park a bit leggy. Not with the way we play. So
Absolutely.
that should be in our favour. But that being said, 3 wins on the trot in the Premier League against Palace, Southampton and Leicester. So a slightly more comfortable run for them, but they still perform very well in those games.
Mm-hmm.
A 2-0 win away at Hull City in the FA Cup. So 4 wins on the spin. And they're up right now against Chelsea. So they're absolutely flying. Their squad's nice and balanced. It's not too bad. They've recruited well. Mitrovic should be back, I would imagine. I'll double check that. Not too many injuries either. I don't think they've got any injuries, I don't think. So, yeah, we've got to, again, it's another club that we have to make sure we treat with some respect, and we've got to play our game.
Yeah. Billy Marco Silva, he's took a lot of flack in the past, and for his time at it didn't work at all at Everton, but nothing works at Everton, to be fair. But he's starting to show everybody what he can do as a manager, and he's keeping Fulham. He's playing some nice football with them and getting results.
He's done a fantastic job at Fulham. Let's be perfectly honest about it. I mean, Scott Parker came up with them 2 years ago, spent a heap of money, and they were relegation fodder all the way along that season, weren't they? This season, they've come into the season, started well, maintained the form, had some really good results.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be a hard team to beat, but I think they're a team that we will beat. I wasn't that impressed with them when we played them at Craven Cottage, albeit against 10 men.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is, I think, Alex, you just posted up that they'll go 6th in the table if they win tonight. Mm-hmm. So it'll be 3rd against 6th, which technically is a huge game in the Premier League. And that says to me that Fulham are going to come into this game no mugs and will think that they can get a result at St. James's Park, no matter what we think at the moment about St. James's Park being a fortress and things like that, Alex. They're going to come and they'll play. We've seen Fulham don't sit back and defend. Marco Silva will play the same way that he's played all season. They will come and have a go. Indeed.
I mean, there are some things to know about them. I think they are overperforming slightly. Their XG conceded is actually the worst in the league at 31.5 goals. Mm-hmm. So they are the best for that. They're not, as in they're giving up so many high value opportunities, or even just any opportunities. They're giving up presumably a lot of shots. And we know that's something we like to do, is we like to be aggressive. We like to have a high shot volume and try and wait for high value opportunities. So I think it's going to be one of those days where we've just got to hope we're not really unlucky, like in recent games where it's just post, Rosed, keeper. We need to try and make sure we hit the target a bit more consistently, because Fulham will give us those opportunities for sure. What's their actual conceded per match? So they're on 13th in the league for goals conceded per match, but their expected goals for actually scoring themselves, they're in 8th. They're at 6th for clean sheets. 7th for goals scored per match. So they're in the top 10 for a lot of offensive statistics, which is why they're as high as nearly 6th. But there are a lot of defensive frailties there that I think have not been exploited as of late for reasons such as, I think Crystal Palace got a couple of players sent off in their game.
Yeah.
They've had a slightly easier run of fixtures. I think it's a little bit unfair, but Leicester have been poor recently. So there's definitely ways to exploit them.
Billy, obviously Mitrovic will be back because he's obviously suspended tonight. But, he'll come into this game, he'll be motivated. And I think, Fabian Schär and Botman will have a really tough test, because I think Mitrovic, he's proven a lot of people wrong this season, isn't he, who said that, he can't do it in the Premier League after smashing the Championship up last season. Of course, he came into the Premier League and it was like, all right. I never said that. I never said he wouldn't score goals. I just said I thought he'd matured a lot. But you know what it is. I think it'll be difficult for us because they will be, Fulham will be putting balls in for him to deal with.
There will be, but at Craven Cottage, he just didn't want to know. He had no inclination to even try.
No, he didn't, and he went off injured, didn't he?
He went over with nothing for nothing challenge really, and then just seemed to want to get off the pitch as quick as he could. So being a boyhood Newcastle fan, maybe that's got something to do with it. Mm-hmm. You never know. But he's never scored against us since he's left us. Maybe that's fate there. That's tempting fate there. But yeah, I mean, he's a good player and he's had a good season. He's been getting service, which is one thing he's lacked on the other occasions Fulham came up.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, the chat is at the minute surrounded with the Joelinton situation. It has taken over everything. I know there's other YouTube channels released videos on it and things like that. It is taking over the news. There's no doubt about that. It is big news, and whatever however we try to dampen it down, this Joelinton thing is what people want to talk about. It is head of the headlines. There's no doubt about that. It is what it is, and I think the sooner we know the full details on it, the better, because the speculation is going to keep going. Now, the only thing I will say, and I think Abs mentioned it in the comments earlier on, he has been charged, right? He hasn't just been arrested; he has been charged. Therefore, he has been charged with drink driving. So he was either going to attempt to drive the car or he was driving the car. That is how the law stands. And so he's been charged, and it is very disappointing. But we need to know in more context. As I say, let's just let the police do the job and let the club do their job and come out and tell us when they're ready to, because I feel they want to get this dealt with sooner rather than later, Alex, and just get it sorted, get it done. I mean, I know he won't appear in court till the end of the month. It's possible that we won't see Joelinton again until next month.
Again, I think it depends on the context. I think it depends on so many moving parts that I'm not privy to the information with. Like, like I said, if he's gone and sat in the car and not driven, and he's had a good chat with Eddie Howe, he's donated, then that sounds not too bad. But if he's hammered and he's driven around, awful, needs to apologise, shouldn't be back in the team until it's all sorted. Big public apology. It just depends on the context. But either way, I don't think we'll see him on Sunday. So it's going to be a minimum of one match, I would imagine we don't see him for.
Well, I mean,
longer.
Again,
who knows?
This is my opinion. He's been charged. He's been charged with drink driving. Therefore, I have zero tolerance.
And the police statement said that they pulled him over, so he was actually driving the car.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If that's the case, then fair enough. Then
he's either failed a breath test or refused to take one, so that's why they've charged him.
Yeah. So he was. Yeah, I forgot about that, Billy. They did say they pulled him over, didn't they? So he was actually driving. So you know what?
That changes it. Then that's unacceptable.
And people will have their opinions, and of course, as usual, everybody is welcome to their own opinion. But let's not go to the point of making songs up and laughing about it. It is no laughing matter. It is ridiculous to do that. This is serious stuff. And one thing Joelinton will do is he'll get a hell of a learning curve through this. However harshly the club or the law take him on, he will get a massive learning curve through all of this. But I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for anybody that has a drink and gets in a car. I just do not have sympathy. I've seen and I've heard so many horrible things happen because of drink driving. It's the one bugbear of mine. I really hate when people have a choice. They have a choice to have a drink or not have a drink. Doesn't matter. If he's over the limit, he's over the limit, and that's why he's being charged. I know for a fact you get a breathalyzer by the side of the road. You then get taken to the station, and you get breathalyzed on a machine which will be used in the court. And if you're over that is when the charge is. So he's obviously over by how much? Does it really matter? Does it really matter how much he's over the limit by? He's drink driving.
And another point I quickly want to make here. People are saying in the chat that we shouldn't judge him until he's been found guilty. He's not going to Crown Court. He's already guilty. If he's been charged with it, when drink driving is concerned, he's guilty.
Yeah, he's guilty. Yeah, there's no not guilty in drink driving. That's a very good point, Billy. Actually, once they're charged for drink driving, they're charged because the proof is there that he's over the limit on the machine. Therefore, he can't be not guilty. So he is guilty of drink driving before. That's why it's dealt with so fast, because there's no trial needed because he's already guilty, which is a very disappointing thing. And people can come at me and say, well, he's Brazilian, he's from another country, the laws. You know the laws of this country. He's been here long enough. You know, I could imagine if he'd been here a few days.
Is 0.2 grams, which is around 1 beer. So he's got similar rules in his country as well. So it's unexcusable.
But even if it wasn't that, Alex, he's been here long enough now to know. He's been here well and truly long enough to know what the laws of this country are.
In Germany as well, and they have similar laws. So.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a shame. It really is. It's come out at a bad time. It's happened at a bad time. You know, and I'm sure Joelinton himself, you know, the man himself will feel terrible about this. You know, he'll know what he's done. He'll know that how many people he's let down. The club, his manager, his family. He's got a pregnant partner. I mean, you know, it's crazy. Larry thinks he'd be left out with Sean Longstaff and Willock to start in midfield. It's not just the drink driving; it's the stigma that follows. Yeah, I mean, you know, other fans will have a field day with him now, won't they? You know what I mean? It's something that he just didn't need. Mark says he thinks Joe will play. Not a chance, mate. I don't think, just like Julie J says there, you know, Eddie Howe isn't afraid to make big decisions. And that one, I think he's got to make, I think he really has to make a statement against Joelinton, doesn't he, Alex? That this is unacceptable behaviour.
I no idea whether he needs to or not. I'm not one to throw the ethical compass around. I have no idea. It's a tough decision. I will respect what Eddie Howe and the club take as, you know, what decision they make. And I hope Joelinton apologises and moves on from it, and everybody, and you know, he learns and everybody can move on. But it's not for me to say whether he should or shouldn't play. I think he probably won't.
I mean, it's feasible for Eddie Howe to say to Joelinton, right, you've let the club down, the fans down, yourself down, go out there and get them back on your side. He could easily say that.
You never know, exactly.
He could do.
I've got no idea.
But from my point of view, and this is, again, only my opinion, I think you leave him out because it will make a statement to not just Joelinton, to the team, but the academy, that this is not how you behave as a professional footballer. And you know, you even no matter how well you're playing, you do something like this, you know, it affects the club. He leaves him out. That's you know, that could be another possibility, that he makes a statement of it to show that the not just to the team that are there at the moment in the first team squad, but the whole of Newcastle United, from top to bottom. That sort of behaviour.
Let's not forget who our owners, what their stance on drink is.
Well, I know that's another thing as well, isn't it? You know, Brian says the country we live in is innocent and proven guilty. Well, he is guilty because he's tested. He's over the limit. He's guilty. There's no trial in a drink driving case. It's done and dusted. But you know, it's one of those things, unfortunately. Tony says one of the things is we all called for Zuma to be banned by the club after kicking his cat. We would be hypocrites to say Joe shouldn't also be punished. Yeah, look, two very, very different situations, though, very different crimes. You know, as you know, as everybody knows, I'm an animal lover, and what he did was disgusting, and he, you know, should be stoned for it, in my opinion, for doing something like that. It's awful. It is awful.
We don't condone that on this channel.
Well, I do, because I'm an animal lover, and I hate. I can't. The thought of somebody even though I'm not a cat lover myself, I love animals, but I wouldn't, you know, kicking like that. That was foul. But drink driving is something very different, because you're talking about human life here, and you know, it's. Sammy, thank you very much for your $7.99 Saudi Arabian Riyal. Is this a sign of overconfidence from the players?
I think it's completely unfair to pluralize the word player in that scenario. It could be nothing to do with anybody else. It might have been an isolated incident where he was drinking with people not from the club or with his family or alone. It's unfair to say players because we have no idea.
Yeah. Elliot says, what are your opinions on people, on players drinking, Billy? It's an interesting question, that, because, you know...
the culture of football has changed so much over the past 30 years. I mean, back then, they'd be out after training until the pub shut. But obviously, different way of thinking these days. I don't think managers like the players to be drinking during the season, but obviously some do. Yeah, I imagine it kind of does detract from your performance somewhat if you're going to be drinking all the time. But we don't know how many drinks he has. We don't know, do we?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it personally, but
well, it's an interesting question from Anders because he lives in Sweden, and in Sweden it can be prison time for drink driving. You can be sent to prison, but I think it depends what, again, the circumstances, but I would highly doubt it. First offense, etc. You know, you just don't know. But I would doubt it.
To just be his license plus a fine, I would imagine.
Yeah. Little Blue Lemmy says, I do believe that it's not about punishment, but about realizing about mistakes and reflecting on why J7 believed it was right.
Didn't Andy Carroll get done for it when he was up here?
I'm sure he...
on his first wave, Tom, man. I think that's why he went to live with Kevin Nolan, wasn't it?
Yeah, he went off the rails a bit, didn't he? So, he was sent to live with Nolan. Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure whether it was drink driving, though. I don't know 100%. Tangy says, Danny Murphy knows nout. Harry Maguire wouldn't fit into our play style, which is a play out from the back. Maguire only knows how to pass backwards and sideways. I mean, we'll talk about that comment from Danny Murphy, Alex. I mean, it was bizarre why he brought Newcastle up because he just it just came out of nowhere. You know, he's saying, you know, he needs a change of club. He needs somewhere to go where he can get his head down and then to turn around and say, well, I think Newcastle would be the perfect destination. I'm not quite sure of that. Before you answer, we've just had a super chat from Peter Joy, £4.49. Thank you very much. And he says, move on. Well, it's hard to move on, Peter, because it is, like I say, very much what people are discussing at the minute. And, you know, we're not going to ignore it because ignoring it would be wrong as well. But thank you very much. Go on, Alex.
It's a tough one with Maguire. I think... I don't know. If people want to hate me for saying it, that's fine. But I don't think he's as bad as everybody thinks. I think he's fine. He's adequate.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be all right. I think he just, you know, we went to a Manchester United side that was in disarray, playing strange systems, changing all the time. You know, he was trying to pass to centre-backs that were static, didn't have confidence, wouldn't move. I mean, we saw in the World Cup exactly how, you know, Rice trying to play in that six. It was so hard to get the ball to him because he was just made himself so unavailable.
Yeah,
and I think Maguire is such a victim of other players around him and play style, on top of his own lack of confidence and just making mistakes, being out of position, playing poor passes. And I think in the World Cup he was a lot more solid generally. And you know, progressive passes, he's on 2.37 per 90, so he can progress the ball forward. That's what he was bought for. Statistically, he's not too bad. But I do agree. I personally wouldn't take him unless we were offered him for nothing. Then yeah maybe. But I would personally prefer we went in a direction of going for another Botman or just somebody slightly less known. Maybe a bit younger that we can sort of mold into the role, somebody to sit behind. Because I think it's supposed to it was meant to be Botman and Byrne as the two left-sided centre-backs. And it's gone a little bit different with Byrne now becoming quite a solidified left-back.
Yeah. Is that Harry Maguire's stats you've got there, Alex? On the
Yeah. I'm just throwing them up just so people can see. You know, statistically, not too bad. You know, the fact his closest stat matches are people like Militao, Bednarek's not a bad centre back either. Diego Carlos, we know, was exceptional before he got injured when he went straight to Villa.
Oh,
I know
I've
your
just seen
favourite players on there as well.
I just saw the name and I thought, oh shit! It was all looking so good, and now I've seen Wout Feces. Not a chance. Not a chance do I want Harry Maguire.
No, I don't want him either. I'd prefer we went down a different route, but I can definitely see somebody like Maguire going to like a Fulham or a Villa, or I can see him going to a middle of the park team or an Everton, and I can see him doing quite well in a team that suits him, where they don't try and demand so much from him, especially a team that actually has a midfield. If he goes to Everton, he's got some big units to pass to with some reasonable technical quality. Trying to get the ball up to Iwobi or Onana is a lot easier than...
What's his name, Alex?
It is Onana. It's a lot easier to get the ball up to them than it is to a static McFred.
Yeah.
God, I wouldn't want to have been a centre back in that system.
Let's not talk about the Fred and McFred. Oh, no. We've got a super chat in from Spike Milligan. £10. Thank you, Spike. Really kind, buddy. He says, 1, Maguire, not in this lifetime. 2, McTitotomine. Sean does not try and cripple other players. Yeah, I don't want McTominay either.
It's worth finishing that off saying that he's about to turn 30 and he's on 190 grand a week. So,
wow.
No.
Oh, Billy's disappeared. I was just about to ask him a question. Simon says, any news on rumours of Milinkovic-Savic? Well, funny enough, we have a transfer show at 2:00 tomorrow with me and Alex. We have a busy day of shows tomorrow on the Toon Review. I'll be doing, obviously, Eddie Howe's press conference reaction. That'll be a recorded video. And then at 2:00, you'll have the transfer show with me and Alex. And then tomorrow night, TTR with me and the lads. So a very busy day for the Toon Review tomorrow. And then, of course, on Sunday, you've got live commentary of the Fulham game with our man Billy Bob Coleman there. So a lot happening on the channel over the next few days. So do stay tuned. Please do like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're the biggest up-and-coming channel there is for Newcastle United content, so get yourself on and become part of this fabulous community that we have. Billy, just before you dropped off there, I was just going to ask you what your thoughts are Harry Maguire.
I've thought about it today, actually. I'd take him as a squad player. Absolutely, I would.
Really?
Yes, I definitely would. I've thought about his deficiencies at Manchester United. A lot of them come when he's pulled out too far wide, let on the left-hand side. That isn't going to happen playing for Newcastle United because Dan Burn, obviously, or left-backs, or people covering the left-backs. That wouldn't happen. His deficiencies wouldn't be so obvious. And instead of passing the ball forward, Harry Maguire brings it out himself. That's his best part of his game. He's bringing the ball out of defence. Gives us a different option. So I wouldn't be averse to having him as a squad player. Absolutely not.
That's a good point, because we normally have Cher who brings it out, and Botman tends to take a step back and do the passing. So that makes sense.
Mark Davison, you've pissed me off with this comment. You really have. So what are you asking for? Sack Joelinton. Stick to football, please. Your judgment is not appreciated. Every single fan will have a judgment on this, Mark, because he's in the public eye. He's a public figure for Newcastle United. Are you so docile that you don't understand how it works? Of course, people are going to have a judgment on it. He's been charged with drink driving. Therefore, he is guilty of drink driving. So we're not saying anything that isn't true. So go and watch another channel. If you want to go and watch another channel that talks absolute bullshit and blows smoke up everybody's arse, then you go and do that, Mark, because that is a ridiculous thing to say. Absolutely ridiculous.
What do you want us to? Everybody's talking about it. What do you want us to do? Just ignore that it is a
exactly.
thing?
Everybody is talking about it because he's a public eye figure playing for Newcastle United who's just been charged with drink driving. Get a grip, for God's sake. It's part of the football because he plays for Newcastle.
And it's going to affect whether he plays or not, potentially. So it's kind of important to talk about.
Ridiculous thing to say, man. Honestly. Keith says, I have the same birthday as Botman. Happy birthday, Keith. Hope you've had a belting day, my friend.
It's happy Rolls Royce Day today.
It is, indeed. Does anyone know what happened to Hugo Lloris when he got caught out not long ago? I don't think he's had his court date yet. I haven't heard anything.
That was ages ago.
It was a long time ago. But I don't know. I don't know.
How has João Felix not scored yet? He's nearly on 1 XG Just him. Not the Chelsea team, just him. He's nearly on 1xG. 3 shots on target, 2 off. How has he not scored yet?
And Leno's played really well though so far. So what I've saw, I've turned it off now because it was affecting my internet, as you saw just now.
Oh, 5 saves. 5 saves from inside the box. Okay, that explains it.
Ethan 9 says, off topic, but who's got their hotels booked for Wembley? Actually, quite a few people by the sound of things. I'm booking mine tomorrow. Also on Joelinton, wait until he's found guilty. He is guilty. Oh, God.
I think it's one of those things where if you've blown over the limit on site and at the station,
you're guilty. You are guilty.
What you can't really go. Yeah, you can't say not guilty because it's there. It's done.
You seem to want Joe left out for Sunday. Is this Witchfinder General? What the fuck are you talking about, David? Jesus, wet man. Honestly.
It's just everybody's personal opinions to do with that topic. It's a sensitive topic for a lot of people. It is what it is. Paul should be allowed his opinion. If he feels that strongly, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Try talking about what should happen to Joelinton to the family of my friend who lost his life. Try talking to people in the chat who've been affected by drink driving, and you say that give over. If you don't like it, go and watch another channel. Simple as that. Shamrock says, sorry, Alex, I don't want to crucify the man, but if he's made a mistake, he needs to hold his hand. Well, I think he will hold his hands up. I don't think
I agree
there's
with
any doubt about that.
Completely. I completely agree.
Yeah. Ab says, no, David, dropping someone for one game for committing a serious crime is not witch hunting. Your attitude is abysmal. Amen. Amen. Tom saying Mitrovic will be back for Sunday. Indeed. Wednesday, Sunday will be a tough game. Fulham are flying this season. Yes, they are. And as Alex stated, they go 6th in the table if they beat Chelsea. And they're winning that game at the minute. So, how's it looking? Are Fulham defending a lot, Billy, or are they trying to play the football?
That's right. And Chelsea look to be hitting them on the counter. They've had a few chances, Chelsea have, to be honest. But as I say, I've turned it off now because it was affecting me in Wi-Fi. So
they're on. Chelsea are on 1.5 xG and haven't scored.
Wow.
14 shots, 5 on target. So Chelsea look like they're doing fine. They just let in a goal and haven't been clinical enough.
Yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Billy. This is just what it says here.
Yeah. It seems that way.
They've had 10 shots inside the box. All right. They just need to be a bit more clinical. They're doing an us before. This is what we do. We just don't concede generally. Yeah.
Reese says, we might have to keep tabs on Hearts now for the next few weeks. Yeah, because Hearts confirmed about, only a couple of hours ago that, of course, Goran Kowal has agreed a loan deal with them till the end of the season. And he may make his debut tomorrow night.
He may not. It does say at the bottom of the tweet, subjects to international clearance, which hopefully is just a formality. But it did say that.
That doesn't mean his work permit. He's got his work permit. It's international clearances.
I think it's worth stating that just in case.
A lot of people will be looking at that team lineup tomorrow. And
the fact that the club themselves have tweeted him out in their shirt, they're obviously pretty confident it's sorted. So
absolutely, yeah. And look, I think it's a good move for him. I really do. I think Hearts. They've got some Aussie players there. We've spoke about it before, just a week ago when he put on his Instagram, Billy, that he was going up to Scotland. He was in Edinburgh, and it seemed just like it was a formality that he was going to sign for Hearts, and he has. How do you think it'll go for him? Because it is a tough league, the Premier League in Scotland. There's some tough tackling up there. It'll be a good education for him, I would have thought.
Yeah, he's going to have to go up. Excuse me, he's going to have to go up pretty quickly, I think. What we have seen of him, though, is he's very elusive. He gets away from defenders and people trying to take the ball off him really well. So I think he'll do perfectly well, and I think he could be kind of pushing himself for a squad place next season for us. I'll be interested to watch him, that's for certain.
Yeah. I mean, Alex, do you think this is the right club? From what Eddie Howe was saying before, he's obviously gone on loan. Good coach. Good players up there. Good. It's a reason. People will say all they want about the Scottish leagues, but I think it's a good league for him to go to.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got some compatriots there, I mean, they've got some experienced players. They've got Robert Snodgrass is up there, so he's a very experienced senior pro. I'm not a big fan of his because there's been a few games against us where he's been a bit of a tit, but he's still an experienced senior pro. So, I think it's a different enough to how we play here, but similar enough in that he'll get the right level of experience. I think it was more appropriate for him to go to a league like that than it was sort of a Portuguese league that was rumoured, because we want him to be comfortable with high intensity, with the physicality, especially the physicality as well. You've got to remember that it also depends on. We play a very specific style now, so we need to make sure that our youth teams and people we loan out are going to be gaining that sort of experience that will translate into being able to play in the first team. We can't just do whatever with every age group and every loanee now. We've got to think about it. It's got to be joined up thinking. Everything's got to work. Otherwise, it makes no sense. So, hopefully this will work. I mean, where are Hearts in their league? They are third in the table at the moment.
They're having a good season.
Positive goal difference on 32 points. They've got some reasonably good senior pros in their side. It seems like a good move. I've not watched them this season, so I will start watching them. But it seems like a good move.
They actually used to be my Scottish team when I was growing up, because everybody seemed to go for Celtic and Rangers, and for some reason I was always attracted to Hearts. So
I love their number 9. He's called Shankland.
Lawrence Shankland, yeah.
What a name. Oh, God.
That's crazy. Anyway, the big right hand is back with his regular joke for us, which is a bit cleaner now, and I won't have to upset any countries. He says, Paul, if you had 10 rabbits running backwards on your head, would that be classed as a receding hairline?
Oh, Christ.
Oh, listen, he always makes me smile, even if they're terrible. It makes me smile. Fulham's right back Robinson is now suspended for the game. All right, that's good news. Kendo says, regret we let Mitro go. Gale wasn't exactly a great swap. Look, he was a lot younger. I think we have to remember that. He was a young kid.
Oh my God. Have you seen that artistic thing that somebody's done on Twitter, by the way? Somebody's drawn a hybrid mixture of Florence Nightingale and Dwight Gale and put them together.
Oh, yes, I saw it. Florence Nightingale. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Bad.
Yeah. Cristiano NUFC says, I am at the game on Sunday, but Fulham playing well tonight. Got to be said. Yeah, they're a good side, and we've said that, very much a good side. So, it just we have to wait and see how they perform. Hopefully, as most teams have done recently at St James's Park, the atmosphere has got to them a little bit. The intensity the Newcastle players, Billy, and we've just got to keep that game, play our normal game again. Joelinton there or not, we have other players who will come in and play the same game and the intensity that Eddie expects.
Yeah, and what was kind of promising was the way we actually attacked a side that weren't set out to really attack us on Tuesday. It's the first time we actually, went at them and did well through it and managed to play through creatively. Similar kind of performance against Fulham, who probably will do the same. They've got lots of good defensive midfield players, Reed, Polinia. It's the back line, I think, is the weakness. And I think our creativity and skill will win out in the end, irrespective of whether Joelinton plays or not.
Interesting. Stephen says, would you sell Joelinton? Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. Bill says, NUFC matters refuse to discuss it. Well, that's up to them. Look, as far as I'm concerned, people are discussing it in the chat. It needs discussing. It's discussed all over the internet. You discuss it like adults, fair enough. If you want to be kids about it, be kids about it. But if you want to have a serious discussion about it, that's fine as well. But just to say, NUFC matters didn't want to discuss it, fine. They don't have to. But we have. End of story. Chris is obviously a Leeds fan. He says, at the end of the day, it's a disgrace what he's done. He's supposed to be leading by example to the young kids who idolize him. And that's what Alex brought up before, and Billy, the part of the role model. It's just the way it is. But are any of you two worried about Fulham on Sunday? Do you think that they have a chance of beating us? Is there any way you think they can beat us on Sunday? We'll start with Alex.
No, I'm worried about us, not them. I don't think they can do anything to beat us. I think it's in our own hands. No, and I do apologise if there's any Fulham fans watching. I think if they have their best possible day, they are nice and compact. They get 1, possibly 2 goals from Mitrovic or something. If that is their best case scenario, and I still think we can score 3. I think it's in our own control, and by that, I'm not scared of Fulham. I'm scared of us. I'm scared of if we turn up and we pepper the goal with 20 shots and none of them go in. I'm worried about our own finishing. I think we'll be the better side by a long way. We just need to make sure we're a bit more clinical and we take some of these chances. We saw this against Leicester when we were in level 7. We were watching the finishing drills. Half time, it was Isak and Maxi came on, and we're doing little passing sequences just with each other. You can see the work being done in the little movements. It's just not quite coming off. I know we're beating teams fairly well when we're winning, but we need to be a bit more consistent with our finishing. So I'm more scared of us than them. I think if we play a decent game, we win 10 times out of 10. But it is in our hands fully.
Billy, what do you think? Because do you see any way that Fulham can beat us or even score? We just seem to have this brick wall at the moment, and when we play full side, that is, we look. I mean, yes, Leicester, to be honest, had a lot of issues on Tuesday night with missing chances. We know that, but at the end of the day, the match finished 0. Again, another clean sheet. And is this a problem for Silva, looking at where he can get the Fulham players into positions where they can hurt us?
Well, obviously, the main point of attack will be Mitrovic. It'll be crosses into him from Willian and Cordova-Reid. That'll be their main kind of theatre of attack. Can they score? Yes, they can. Do I think they will? Probably not. I agree with Alex. I think it's all down to us and how we approach the game and how we get with our attacking situations. If we can kind of take advantage of them and score goals, basically, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, well, it's interesting what Alex has just said there. Fulham have scored 31 goals this season. We've scored 32. So the goals very, very similar. Mitrovic is obviously going to be the centre of attraction, Alex, for Fulham, and he will be the main man for them. But they do have other players that can hurt us, don't they? Not just Mitrovic.
Yeah, I mean he's bagged 11 goals. And is their top scorer with 1 assist. But they've got goals in other places. I think Pereira's responsible for. I think he's got a couple of goals, and I think he's on 4 assists. So he's providing a reasonable return. And then it sort of tapers down from there. I think Bobby Reed's got a few goals, 3 or 4 goals. So they are a threat. But again, it's generally one man really, and they are top of the league for penalties awarded with 6. So 6 of those goals have come from penalties. I say 6. I don't know if they've scored all 6 of those. I would imagine. I'll have to go and check that. But they've still been awarded the most penalties. So maybe that inflates it somewhat. They've had, purple patch Mitrovic plus 6 penalties. That might maybe, what's the word? Make it seem a little bit better than it is in reality. But we've still got to respect them because Mitrovic should be rested, fit, and ready to go. Hopefully, the rest of the players behind him will be a little bit more tired. But yeah, there are goals in their side. The only difference between us and them is we've got a brick wall defence. The goals scored are quite similar, really. And considering 5 against Brentford, and we've given some teams some drubbins this season, so they're doing very well to be 1 goal behind us, really.
I mean, what was that kid called who was linked with us all the time? Was it Craney? Was it their captain at the time a couple of years ago?
Tom Kearney,
yeah. He seems to have. Well, he's not playing as a prominent role for Fulham anymore. But what about you, Billy? Is there anybody in the Fulham side that stands out to you apart from Mitro that could possibly hurt us?
Well, obviously, Williams has been a hell of a player. Obviously, he's over the top now a little bit, but hell of a player in his day. Pellegrini is very good in the centre midfield defensively. I think they're going to miss Robinson. I think he could have kind of kept Mickey quiet, but the fullback that played in the home leg didn't have a clue against him. Koulibaly scored for Chelsea, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, Robinson being suspended, I think, will be a real killer for them. And I think Miggy will take advantage of whoever's playing out there. I can't remember who it was last time, but whoever it was, he was awful.
I mean, Miggy did, and Miggy had a field day down there, didn't he? I mean, he could have had quite a few goals. He was all over the place. And if he can replicate his first goal, that beautiful volley, then that would be delightful if you could do that at the Leeds End, Miggy, on Sunday. I'd appreciate that. It's for me, when I see teams like Fulham coming up, and the old, a few seasons ago, Fulham would come up and try and defend a lot, and that's why I'm so impressed with what Marco Silva's trying to do, because he's kind of like Eddie Howe, and he likes to play attacking, free-flowing football. And certainly what I've seen of Fulham this season, they like to knock the ball around. And this, for me, it's going to be another test, Alex, because it won't be like playing the big boys. We've got players on there who are, from Fulham's point of view, very good players, not at the standard of, the De Bruynes of the world and things like that. But they have some tidy players who are, well, for me, look like they're starting to really gel as a team in the last few games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I think we are a completely different kettle of fish to who they've played recently. Crystal Palace with 2 red cards skews the game. Southampton have been really poor recently, incredibly poor. There's a reason they are bottom of the league. They beat Leicester, who, are poor at the moment. Hull in the FA Cup. They're playing against Chelsea now, but recently, really, it's not really been that much. And then before we broke for the World Cup, they lost to Manchester United and Manchester City. I mean, fair enough. It's most people lose to Man City, but we are a different beast. We are considerably better than all the teams that I just listed that they beat recently. So we are third in the Premier League for a reason, on merit. We are we're there not just because we're overperforming. We're there because we are hitting our numbers. We're scoring what we're supposed to be. Well, we should actually be scoring more. We've missed so many chances this year. We're third in the league for missed chances. So it is a completely different kettle of fish. And I think they will struggle against some of our more technical players. Players like Bruno, I think they're going to be miles above them in terms of quality. I think Pereira is very good technically. They've got a few players. I think Willian, despite the pace drop off, is still a very technically gifted player at the highest level.
Yeah, they don't lose the technical side, do they? Yeah.
You could probably class him as still elite in terms of just his technical ability. But I think we've got a lot of really good technical players, especially players like Botman and Bruno. If Maxi plays any part of it and turns up, if Isak gets minutes, hopefully the quality plus the intensity will be the difference.
CJ saying that apparently Mitrovic is out for 3 weeks with a knee injury. So he's not just suspended; he's got apparently a knee injury. So interesting. I don't know whether you can check that, but that's interesting. A lot of people now talking in the chat about the Manchester derby on Saturday and who they want to win. I think if I'm openly honest, I want to see Man United get hammered because realistically, I think Man City will end up winning the league. That's just the way I think at the minute. But for our point of view, Man United have been babbling on for weeks now, saying, "Oh, the great again," and all of this and all of that, but they haven't played anybody. And for me, I think City will tonk. I don't know what you think, Billy.
Yeah, I've always preferred away to simply red. I've got to be honest. I think City will put them to the sword quite convincingly. I don't think they'll be able to. I think Martinez against Haaland, I don't think it's a matchup at all. I think Haaland will have a field day.
Yeah. There's a massive height difference there as well, isn't there?
I've got Silva's comments on the Chelsea game. This is about Mitrovic. He said he's getting better and better and better. Now he is training every single day with his teammates. After the matches, we don't need a long time to recover him from the game before. It's not my English, it's his. All these things are a good sign for us and that we're going to have him. Yeah, we're going to have him even better in the next few games. His comments would suggest he's fine. So
again, look, we're going to have to wait till 1 o'clock on Sunday, aren't we, to see what the team lineup is. I'm sure both managers probably won't be giving anything away anyway before the game. We just have to to wait and see. I had to laugh at that comment there by Stiff. He says, Man United signing Jack Butland and Wout Weghorst as their transfer window. Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't laugh at that. I wouldn't be too quick to judge that. Because if you look at the previous strikers he's turned around with Tadic as a false 9 and then Sebastian Haller up front for Ajax, and the way that Man United play with players like Anthony and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not confirmed yet, is he? So, but if he does go, it might not be the worst signing. He's not an immobile guy, but when we were still privy to the pressure stats, he was doing 37 pressures per 90. The man's a bloody energizer bunny. He gets around.
In comparison to what they've been signing before, it's not the kind of signing Man United fans are.
Yeah, it's not like Cavani or Igalo. It's a big guy that has some energy. So I know. It's because they've just signed Anthony and Casemiro and stuff, and their expectations are childish, so they want to play. They want it to be like a FIFA game, but
of course, as well, you've got to remember, Weghorst was Chris Wood's replacement at Burnley. So, James McCarthy says, I agree with Paul. I hope Man United gets smashed. They're already talking like they've won the Carabao Cup. It's annoying. Yeah. I saw Goldbridge was on about it, and far too confident. We'll wait and see on that one. But from our point of view, team-wise, I don't think it's going to be much different apart from obviously the Joelinton situation. I think we'll play the same way. I think if we can get an early goal, Billy, it could have a big impact on the game. If we nearly scored very early on against Leicester, of course. If we go and do score very early against Fulham, Fulham are going to have to come out at us, which that plays into our hands.
Yeah, that was the catalyst to the win away from home, wasn't it? That a player sent off. We looked better even before they went down to 10 men. I think that man sent off in the 7th minute or something, really early. But yeah, score first, score early. I'll see us go and have a convincing win. Fulham aren't a bad side, but I don't think they've got the tools to actually break us down. So yeah, I think we'll win convincingly.
Guys, before we do our team prediction, if you do enjoy the show tonight, don't forget to hit the like button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. And also that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live, we upload or we schedule any shows. You can become a member of the Toon Review if you hit that join button just underneath the broadcast itself. You can donate to the Toon Review if you do wish by hitting the $ at the bottom of the live comments. And we also do some fantastic merch, and you can find it here.
So let's get down to business.
I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I'm gonna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it.
Let's get down to business.
So there you go. The toonreview.co.uk is the place to go for your Toon Review merchandise. Billy, what's so funny?
It's the Spanish Cup semi-final tonight. Betis against Barcelona. Barcelona took the lead. Some might say with me scoring, Fatty. But Betis has now equalised, and some might say I've scored again. Someone called Lauren Moron scored the equaliser.
Oh my God. Dear me. The big right hand says his prediction for Sunday is lamb, as he had beef last Sunday. Very nice to know. Right, it is time to predict our team lineups. Alex, we'll let you go first with this one.
Pope, Trippier, Schär, Botman, and Byrne. A midfield of Bruno, Willock, and Longstaff. And then the big one, I'm going to go with Maxi. I think he's going to start Maxi. I would like him. I would prefer him to start Isak. I think Wilson's maybe rest him. Maybe bring him on for half an hour. I would prefer Isak for an hour, then Wilson for the final half an hour. And then, of course, Miggy on the right-hand side.
Interesting. Billy Bob?
Yeah. Pope, Trippier, Schär, Botman, Byrne, Bruno, Willock, Longstaff, Maxi, Isak, and I'll move on. Same as Alexson, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to make one change to that lineup, guys, and I think he's going to start Isak on the left. Don't ask me why. It's just these funny premonitions I get of just being inside Mr. Howe's head. I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing the jazz hands either.
It's not Botman at the back, Isak on the left. I stopped the song. We can't do that.
Well, he's technically still playing in attack, isn't he? He's one of the front three.
Wow.
But I can see Isak playing around 60 minutes and Maxi 40-odd minutes, right? Because I think Isak looks to me a little bit fitter than Maxi is right now. So,
but that would mean if Wilson doesn't play 90 minutes, that means Wood comes on.
Oh, Christ, I forgot about that.
You didn't think about that, did you?
No, I really didn't.
Well, Felix been sent off, incidentally.
He's been sent off.
Who has?
Joe Felix.
Oh, you're joking.
Wow.
I've just clicked off to go on the Barcelona Betis game, and that's just happened. Oh, it's hilarious. £11 million.
Yeah, it's all going wrong for Graham Potter. That's
straight red as well. Oh,
wow.
No.
Anyway, or what he could do, Alex, is he could actually take Isak off and put Murphy on and put Maxi on for Wilson. If the game is, for 2 or 3 up, he could do that just to see the game out.
When does he do that?
He's
If Wood's on the bench.
Hang on.
Back.
Shut your face, Trey. Right? I'm saying, it would be an opportunity. He's played Maxi up front a couple of times, Alex.
He switched him out there when we didn't have anybody else to sub on because he looked at Fraser on the bench and went, nah. No, I'll just move things around.
Would Chris Wood be so bad to come on for half an hour if we're 3-0 up?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Fair enough. Ab says it was a sending off and Felix played well, but Fulham are dark arts merchants. The ref needs to be strong against them. Oh, dark arts. Wow.
They are, to be fair.
Claude said it was a bad tackle. And the Premier League is too fast for him. Well, it is his first game in the Premier League. I think you can let him off with that, but obviously,
it's a 3-match ban now. We're not going to see him for a while.
Yeah, straight red, unless they appeal it. But by the sound of things, it was a bad tackle and he deserved it. So there you go. Truls says, for a second, I thought Billy was putting on lipstick. Yeah, I keep looking at the screen and I see him do that with his...
Has he got his red vape out?
It really does look like Lippy. And Billy, it sends me back to that photo on TTR Friday a couple of weeks ago, which scared the living shit out of me, which I'll never be able to forget. But there you go.
Oh, God, Zakaria's been injured as well. They are having a mare.
Yeah.
Zakaria's injured. Felix out for 3 games. They're not going to have a squad left. I mean, it's a good thing they've got a ginormous squad, isn't it?
Well, we shall see. Anyway, scoreline predictions, guys. Billy, we'll start with you on this one.
Oh, I'm going to say a convincing 2-0 victory. Goals from Willock and Almiron.
Okay, Alex? Well, we know one of your goal scorers is going to be Botman, but who's the other one's going to be?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-0. Botman and... I'm going to go with Longstaff. It's got to go in eventually, surely. Well, it's got to go in at some point.
Yeah, you'd like to think it does, yeah. Lawrence's Fulham have just tweeted hashtag adios João.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Well, of course it is. It is a derby match, isn't it? They're just down the road from each other, so it's...
Can I just read you who they've got missing, by the way, now, including who they've just gone off? So they've got, from now, Felix will be out, Zakaria, Fofana, Loftus-Cheek, James, Sterling, Kante, Mende, Pulisic, Chilwell, Brozier. That is an enormous injury list and a suspended list. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If only they've got a big checkbook to use to just buy themselves out of it, eh?
Bloody hell.
Do you think they'll give Potter time?
Probably not, but he deserves it. It's not his fault all of these people have got injured.
Well, I know that.
If it had been Abramovich, no. Todd Bowley, I'm not so sure.
I mean, he's come out quite a few times and said he's willing to, he's backing his manager here and with these signings and these are the players he's asked for, etc. And
he's a process manager though. He's got a very specific way of playing and a set of demands.
Well, it took him a while at Brighton, didn't it?
yeah, you got to give a player, you've got to give a manager like that 3 years and then assess him. But he might not get that, so it is what it is. I think.
Anyway, what's your score for Sunday, Alex?
A 2-0.
All right. Who were your scorers?
Botman, Longstaff. Dan Botman.
Dan Botman. Anyway, I think it's going to be 2-0 as well, funny enough. So we've all gone 2-0. I think that's actually the first time we've all agreed on a scoreline for a very long time. So, yeah. My goal scorers...
Joe Longstaff.
Will you shut your face? Right? I got one bloody name wrong during the recording. Right?
What about Joe Longthorne then? Do you remember it? Joe Longthorne.
Wasn't he a thinger? A thinger?
Oh, Toya.
I've lost my speech completely.
Alan St. Almiron.
He was the thinger in the thistle.
He used to impersonate other singers, didn't he?
Yes. I think actually, yeah, I do remember him now.
Miguel Murphy. I'm just thinking of funny names now.
Alex, right? Just there's no need. There's absolutely no need for such abuse of your fellow friend. Just no need.
Bruno Lackenbacker.
Yes, Mr. Lackenbacker. You were the one that started all this anyway. I like coffee, says Alan Sven Maximin. Wow. Okay. Callum Isak says, we're getting some names in now. Wow. Apparently Dybala scored a great goal for Roma. And Jose is taking them on yet another cup run. So there you go. I just saw.
But Mourinho's finished. Oh, he's doing fine. He won the Conference League, and Roma are a really good side.
Yeah, indeed. Dan Kane says, late to the party, how are you boys doing? We are good. Julie J says, Bruno Shelby. Nick Gamares. I better not say that's their surname. I get wrong off Alex. Miggy Wood. Alain St. Wood. Bruno Byrne. Going on. Chris Feces. Yeah, that's more to the point, actually, Billy. Yes. There you go. But there you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching tonight. It has been heated at times, as it would be expected when stories like this break from Newcastle United. But at the end of the day, it's all agree to disagree or agree to agree, whatever it is. We discuss things like adults. End of story. Right. Thank you very much to the Mod Squad for another fantastic work behind the scenes. Thank you to everybody that's become members, super chatted tonight. Really, really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you have enjoyed the show, guys, as usual, hit that like button. And of course, the notification bell. The subscribe button. It's free. It's free to do so. And also the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live, upload, or schedule a show. And also you can join if you hit that green button underneath that says join, funny enough, and become a member. And you have a chance of winning some wonderful prizes. You know what, Alex, doing that, right, reminds me of those people when they used to be on those talent shows and they used to read out the phone number and they used to go,
I'm just not sure where it is because you were pointing down your end. I think it's down. I don't know where it is. Is it down there? I think
so. Yeah, somewhere down there.
You can't see it on our screens. You see, I've just got a box, so I think it's down there.
Absolutely. Thank you to Billy and Alex again for tonight. Now, tomorrow, as I say, I will be doing a video on Eddie Howe's press conference. That could be very interesting. 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, join myself and Alex for the transfer show. We'll go through some more players. And, of course, Billy will be back with us tomorrow night for TTR Friday. We'll have some more discussions. God knows what's going to come up tomorrow night. But it was a good one last Friday, talking about the managers. Who knows what we'll talk about tomorrow night. We'll see what comes up. But we will have our usual quiz where you can join us live on the show and take on, I'll have to try and get some trivia. So if somebody wants to play Billy, I'll be able to read some questions out. So I will sort that tomorrow. But you can come on live on the show. You don't have to have a video camera on. You can just have your mic on and take on any one of us if you think you're good enough, and you can win some prizes. So until tomorrow, guys, enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, guys.
How are the lads and lasses?